I'm going next, so I can say a little about that. I'm Bree. My business is Vostromoda, and it's Italian for your style, and that is what I help each individual person find is their individual style, because we are all unique and we have all evolved and changed over time. And so even our personality changes, so why wouldn't our style change with that too? And I think for a lot of people, they have a hard time letting go of either a past version of themselves or maybe some of the clothing from the past, but it doesn't fit who they are or their goals or who they want to be. So that's where I come in to really help them with those things. But one of the great things when it comes to content creation especially, and your style, is you can really have fun with this part. And I think it doesn't matter if you are an entrepreneur and have your own business, or if you just have a personal brand and you want to feel like you can put yourself out there and really show up how you want to, that's where style can come into play. So I have 4 tips for you and a bonus tip, because I'm a sucker for bonus things. But my first tip goes along with what Jen was saying and when she was talking about batching content. Similarly, planning out your outfits when you have a content creation day is going to be really beneficial, because now you have so many resources to pull from and you have different variety of ideas. So when you are able to plan ahead for those things, you know exactly what you're going to look for, what you're going to wear, what you're taking with you. You can make sure it's not stuck in the laundry or the dry cleaner, so that when you get to your shoot, you're not like, ooh, I don't have any of the stuff I need. You've already made a plan ahead of time, you pull the items aside, and that's just one less thing to worry about in the moment when you're already trying to go down a checklist of here's what I need to create today. On top of that, the second tip that I have is think about the fit of your items and make sure you try stuff on before you actually get to your content creation day or a photo shoot or something like that. There's nothing worse than being so excited to wear something, trying it on and going, this doesn't fit anymore. The button's just not quite buttoning, or, ooh, that has a rip or a stain that I didn't realize it had, and now you're super conscious of it. Even if it didn't show up on your camera when you're doing your content, you're gonna be really aware of it and probably pulling at it in different ways, and you just don't feel your best. And the goal is you wanna feel your best and put your best out there. So trying stuff on ahead of time, it's gonna save you a lot of heartache later. My third tip is easy outfit changes, and that's kind of my visual example for you today. So my suggestion, if you're gonna be doing batching your content and creating multiple things, you do wanna have some different looks between them, which Paige will touch on this a little bit too. But if you don't have different looks, people might think they see the same outfit of you on your Instagram and go, I've already seen this video, because you look the same in every single one. So having a little bit of diversity, it's gonna show, oh wait, I haven't seen this because that's a new outfit, or your hairstyle differently, I must have missed this. So you wanna make sure that people aren't scrolling past your stuff unintentionally because they don't even realize that it's a different video. So having simple changes, you don't have to do a full outfit if you're like, that's super overwhelming to me. Start with something that is a good base. So my example today is I started with a black maxi dress in a neutral color, really easy to do. I dressed it up with wearing this bolero, but I have a couple ways that I can make this different if I were doing content. So I could take this off and make it really casual as, you know, a strappy maxi dress. But if I wanted to do something that's more business formal, I can just throw a blazer on over it, and that immediately changes the entire aesthetic of this. And then if you're doing a full length or something like that, you can always change the shoes too. But for a lot of your reels, if you're doing anything talking, you're really gonna be basically focusing on like waist up stuff. But this changes the entire look of what I was just wearing pretty dramatically. Now, if I wanna do something that's a little bit more casual, I can always just switch it out with a jean jacket. And again, I'm going for things that I don't have to pull over the top of me, because I don't wanna have to do my hair again if I don't need to necessarily. And doing stuff over the top of you, then you have to worry about your makeup smudging and all that stuff. So doing things like button-ups or jackets, or even using scarves and tying them in creative ways, using them like shawls with some belts, it can create a whole new look and make you feel like you're wearing a new outfit, but you really didn't change that much. And then my final trick is if you have a dress, but if you have a very long skirt, you can really make the outfit look totally different. And let's see if I can do this without tripping over myself. But this is
We're already impressed.
I know.
Yeah. For jumpsuits or dresses, this can work really well, as long as you don't trip on how long it is.
I love everything you've put on.
Well, thanks.
That's why she's a stylist.
Exactly. And now you have a totally different outfit, and really it didn't take a ton of effort. It wasn't like I had to go into a changing room and take everything off and put everything on again. This was so simple. I could literally walk out of here like this if I needed to. And then, you know, if I'm like, you know what, I'm not feeling it, it's not that big of a deal. I just warn people, I swear I'm wearing clothes underneath this, so I'm gonna do something like that.
She has undressed in our BNI meeting before.
Yes, she did. I was fully dressed underneath, just as a heads up.
The guys are like, what's happening?
So make sure that when you are planning outfits, even if you don't want to do a full outfit, make it easy on yourself. Change change your accessories out, or change your jacket or scarf. Bring little pieces with you if you don't want to bring the entire wardrobe along with you, and make your life easier when you're creating content. And then my last main thing is thinking of layering. So a lot like when you are layering your clothing, I also want to touch on hair and makeup, because if you want to have different looks with your hair and makeup, it's hard to do that if you start out with as much makeup as I have on right now, and then I want to change it to something slightly different. So I always say start with the simplest look first, and then work your way up. Start with something really simple, casual maybe, and then if you want to do something that's more polished or professional or glamorous, add it as you go. So maybe I start with a jean jacket and very minimal makeup, and then I go, well, I want to do something that's a little bit more elegant and elevated. Well, maybe then I pop on my red lip and I'm gonna put this shawl on, or the blazer, or even the skirt. And that way you're adding slightly different looks, but again, it's not like you have to pull things over and you're now smudging your makeup or having to redo your hair entirely. Just little things that make your life easier that you can plan ahead if you need to, but you can also improvise in the moment, and it's not a big deal. And then my last bonus tip for all of you is, if all of this sounds cool, but at the same time you're like, I'm still really overwhelmed, I don't like putting outfits together, I don't want to plan or prep all this stuff, that's where a stylist can come in and help you. We can help you prepare for things, we can help you literally put the outfits together, shop for new pieces, whatever you need. There are resources out there that can help you, so you don't have to do it all yourself, just like what Jen does, what Tracy does, and what Paige does. And I have a little summary of all this that I put into your gift bags for you.
And Bree has worked with my clients on a session before, where she actually comes the day of the session, works with them ahead of time, and then comes on the day of the session to be there to help throughout the session too, and that's always really great.
I work in person or virtually, depending on people's locations.
Like, you go into someone's closet and be like, all right, like, dude, this
Yep.
she does. Like,
I hired her. She's like, let me help me clean out my closet.
yeah.
She helped me
She's
clean
just
out my
good.
attic of clothes when I downsized to move into an RV. So.
Yeah. And one other thing specifically about the space too, with that room that has all those extra items, I mean, this rolling rack is also part of that, which is great if you want to just bring everything into the room you're working in to make it easier. But even with stuff like that, get creative and have fun with it. There's like gowns and stuff in there. Say that you're making a reel and you want to show 2 different personalities. Throw in one of the gowns as one of the super extreme dramatic, maybe it's the client that you hate, but they're just like over the top. And then you have your normal stuff that you're wearing, and you can go back and forth.
So you can have
between
fun
them.
with all of
Yeah,
it.
so you can have a lot of fun. So allow yourself to play around and get creative with your clothing too.
Like, there's a lot of people who do like the working, like, oh, I didn't see you there, I'm just on my computer over here. Just like looking adorable on my bed. And it's like,
just talking about that
We legit, I was like, I always sit like this when I work at my computer.
Yeah.
Not like a little goblin with my like hoodie up being like, this is fine. Where's my coffee?
I want to have those videos that don't just feel like it's always this part of me all the time, turtling and talking about it.
I think that's where angles come in. Because whether you sit in the same place that you always sit, but say that you take your computer or your phone, whatever you normally set up in front of you, and you just move it a little bit to this side. That feels dramatically different, even though you didn't really change much. Or you just change your seat around and you sit this way instead. And then it's like your body language, and even if you stand up for some, and you can still crop it the way that you want to for the frame, but I think standing and sitting, you have different energy when you do that too. So that might even be a simple way if you're doing it at home and you feel, you know, like, I don't know if I'd be able to transfer that here. Practicing with that at home, it might make it more comfortable when you come in to be like, I can stand for some things and I can sit for some things and just feel through it a little more. I've practiced doing that myself because I know when I first started doing video, when I was trying to put myself on social media, it was the same seat in the same corner of my room every single day. And I was like, I'd go through and I'd be like, if I didn't change my outfit, I wouldn't know it was a different video. And then I started switching up where I was taking the video or from what angle, even if I wanted to sit in the same spot. And it changes things just enough that you're like, oh, this is something different. Okay. It's not too scary because it's not drastically different, but it's just enough to try something slightly different than what you did before.
I love that.
Yeah.
I also love your videos, by the way, when you walk in, you're like, I'm changing my outfit. And you like walk by the camera and it's like, this is what I'm wearing now. And then you go and you restyle it and you come back in. I'm always like, oh, I can do that.
I try to get creative with a very small 1-bedroom apartment because I feel like when you don't have a space like this, you're forced to think outside of the box and go, how do I make my very white walls look different so people aren't like, cool apartment, and it's very boring. So it's like you get creative with angles and lighting. And honestly, like just going into a room a different time of day, if I'm using the natural light, it changes the entire effect of the video and how it feels. So that's something to think about too, is if you have a desk that's set up by a window, maybe try filming at a different time of day and just see how that feels a little different too. And you might speak about a slightly different subject with a different emotion to it, and it kind of all conveys with that change in the visual appearance.